Hello, so welcome to another reading vlog. I think I still look tired. It is Monday night, Tuesday night. What day is it? It's Tuesday night. I am trying to convince myself that I'm getting to the part of my new job where I've learned all the initial stuff and now I can start getting into a regular routine and having brain power for some things other than learning all the new work stuff. I don't know if that's actually true or if I'm just being hopeful. But we're going to try and be optimistic. We are going to try positive thinking. So hopefully that means that this week I can read some things and get some other things done other than just like being overwhelmed by work. So with that in mind, I have already started reading a couple of things. Firstly, I've started reading The Song of Achilles by Madeline. I have previously read Circe by Madeline, which is the same kind of thing, like a Greek mythology retelling. This one, I did feel like the beginning had very similar vibes in that in Circe we start following her as a child and she's very mystified about a lot of the things that's going on around her, and it kind of just feels like she's somewhat lost. And the same with this, we're following Patroclus and he gets himself in a bit of trouble. It seems like he's not the smartest. He's not the strongest. He doesn't understand how he fits in with all these amazing people. A lot of them are descended from gods. His father is a king, but his father is pretty disappointed in him. And he ends up getting exiled because he's not living up to expectations and going to live with Achilles' father. And the two of them has just started forming this friendship. It is a really lovely story. I can see why a lot of people like it, but I don't know if I'm in love with it yet. I mean, I think the writing is really nice, and I've been enjoying reading about this boy kind of finding his place, but I feel like I need more in the story. But I know that there's a war coming. I know a little bit about Greek mythology, so I will continue this. I'm not very far into it yet, so maybe 10%. So lots more to read in that one. And then the other things that I have been reading is a couple of audiobooks. So firstly, I started listening to the third book in the Good Girl's Guide to Murder series. Why can I never remember the name of the books in that series? It's because A Good Girl's Guide to Murder is a good title, and so that sticks in my head. The third book is called As Good as Dead. In this one, so I'm about 30% of the way through, and our main character is basically pretty traumatized from the events of the first two mysteries that she was involved in, and she's really struggling, and it's quite hard to read because she's making some really bad decisions. She knows they're bad decisions, but she's making them anyway, and we've really just got to the point where I think they've introduced kind of this new mystery that she's going to be looking into, but at the same time I'm like, you are not mentally stable enough to really be looking into this, but nobody else is there to help her, and she kind of needs to look into it for reasons. But yeah, I'm just generally quite worried about where this particular book is going to go. But this whole series has really been that situation where I feel like once you get reading it, you just want to keep reading it, and it's hard to put down. So I imagine that I'll fly through that one. I do also have another Harry Dresden audiobook that I'm hoping to pick up, but also I have too many audiobooks at the moment, but hopefully we'll go for some walks and we'll have plenty of reading time. I'm not sure the weather. You can't see that. I'm not sure the weather is going to allow us to go for lots of walks, but we'll see if we can negotiate with it. The other thing I've been doing is listening to the audio CDs. So I've showed this before. I could only get Rule of Wolves on audio CD. So there's like 16 CDs in here. To be honest, I started listening to it on my stereo in my lounge, and I can't do that because my stereo in my lounge can only play CDs at 1x speed. I can't listen to audiobooks at 1x speed. It's so slow. I was so bored. So at the moment, I'm actually in the process of seeing if I can rip these onto my computer and listen to them that way, because at least then I'll be able to speed them up, I hope. Yes, I'll be able to work that out. I'm sure I can, because I've been listening to the first CD of this, and it's not great. I don't like the audiobook narrator that much, and so when I have to listen to her slowly saying the story, that makes it even more annoying. This is the second book in the King of Scars duology, which follows on from the Crooked Kingdom duology, which follows on from the Grishaverse trilogy, Shadow and Bone and all that. To be honest, this isn't my favorite series, but I do want to wrap it up. Primarily because this duology is about Nina, and it was always Nina's magical powers that interested me the most. They kind of got a darker element to them. But with this duology, she mixed Nina's story in with Nikolai's story, and I don't really think they work well together. A lot of the reviews I've seen, people are either like, I love Nina's story, but what's this rubbish with Nikolai and Zoya? Or alternatively, there's people who say, I love the stuff with Nikolai and Zoya, but what's the stuff with Nina? And I just feel like both the plots are getting in the way of each other. So it'll be interesting to see whether they actually come together in this book or whether they've just been weirdly mashed together. There is some connections, but it's just not enough, I think, to have combined those two stories. And so far, I haven't been enjoying this, but a large part of that could be that I've been forced to listen to it so slowly, and that's just too hard for me. So hopefully I can rip these all and we can listen to it at a faster speed. And hopefully work can manage to stay calm for the rest of the week so that my brain can focus on reading as well as work. Like, work can have a little bit of my brain power since they're paying me, but like not all of my brain power. So I do wonder, if I film my update at my same desk position every day, will you be able to see me getting more and more tired through the week? Do I actually look less tired today than I did yesterday? Maybe. I still feel kind of tired. Today was a day, like, since I've been back at work, today was the day when I had the most meetings, and it was a lot of new information. But I think, like, mostly I know what people are talking about now. There's still a lot I don't understand, but like, I understand enough, I think, to keep myself afloat. That's the main thing. Anyway, let me update you on my reading. I have been listening to, I still don't remember the title, As Good as Dead. I've been listening to that, and my camera battery ran out. I should not be having this problem anymore because I actually bought a cable so that it could be plugged in to the wall. And yet still when I'm vlogging, I don't remember to plug it in, so that doesn't actually help. Anyway, I've been reading As Good as Dead, and it's such a different direction compared to the first book and this new book. The main character is like a completely different person, and it's not that that doesn't make sense because like she's been through some really traumatic things, but it's kind of awful to read from. Like, I'm so frustrated when she's making these decisions and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, that is clearly a terrible decision. And like, the bad things that are happening to her are not her fault. Like, I don't want to be victim blaming, but still, it's so hard to read because you can just see how badly things are going to be going. And as well, like, I feel like she was making some bad decisions in the beginning and she acknowledged that they were bad decisions. And so I was kind of on board with that. But now, like, the most recent decision she's made, like, so far, she's kind of saying, I made the right decision. And I'm like, you did not. And I'm really hoping the book will say that wasn't the right decision, because I can't. I had a quick look at some reviews, trying very hard to avoid spoilers, and I can see that there's kind of a split. People who thought this was just like really intense and loved the direction that it went in. It's definitely very thrilling. I want to keep reading it to find out what's going to happen. But then there's also other people who are like, what is this character development? What is this? Like, this is not the story that I signed up for in the first book. And it's definitely completely different. And I do also wonder, like, it's meant to be a YA book. Like, it's not that it's not, but I definitely have to see how it deals with what's happened now before I feel like I could agree that this is YA appropriate, because it's very intense. So I think I'm going to go for a run because the weather is not raining for the first time in quite a while. So I'll go for a run and I should be able to listen to a bunch more of that tonight. I did also last night read a couple of chapters of this, but I only got through a couple of chapters because I was mostly just listening to my audiobook. I didn't want to stop listening to my audiobook and go to bed and read this. I guess there's just not enough time after work to do all the things I want to do, because I also had some other stuff I needed to do last night. Like, some of it was housework, so listening to my audiobook worked with that, whereas physical books have to wait till you can like properly sit down with them, you know? Anyway, I really do want to find out what's happening with Pip, so I'm going to go for a run. I thought I might actually manage to look less tired again today. However, then I mucked around after work and now it's quite late, so I am once again tired. And I haven't done anything tonight. I just feel like this week seemed really short at work and I didn't have enough time to do everything. And I think that's the downside of working 4 days a week. However, I am excited about my 3-day weekend and I'm going to try not to think about work. Like, things are at least not a disaster, I think, I hope. Who really knows? Tomorrow's meant to be sunny, so we can take advantage of that. Honestly, it just rains all the time now, so every time we get like one sunny day of the week, it's like, gotta get out in that sunshine, which doesn't work when you're working, of course, but like, I'm not working tomorrow, so that's exciting. Anyway, let me tell you about my reading. I did, late last night, finish off As Good as Dead, and I can't believe that that was the ending. Like, that's the ending? Like, I finished it, and honestly, all I could say was that was the ending? And I was trying to decide, like, how am I going to rate this? There's definitely, like, it's still good writing, and I was engaged in the story, so I thought maybe I'll still rate it highly. However, the ending started getting very repetitive, and the main character was just kind of stuck in this loop. We did the same thing over and over again a little bit. Like, she just kept feeling the same things and thinking about doing the same things. And then the ending just so emotionally unsatisfying to me. Like, it's just like we had this character who was so like amazing at solving crimes right in the beginning, and then everything that kind of happened just ruined her life. And like, how is that a satisfying ending? I'm just so confused about what this book was even trying to do. And the second half of the book was just like really anxiety inducing. Like, I was so worried about what was going to happen, but at the same time, like, I didn't even know what was I worrying about. Like, did I want the thing to happen or did I not want the thing to happen? Because at that point, the situation we were in was just lose, 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 lose. There was no way to win anymore because she'd made such stupid decisions that now here we are in disaster land. I don't know what's happening anymore. And it just, I don't know why she took it in that direction. I think people who really like the first two books for the solving of the mystery and like following along with all the clues are going to be really disappointed in this last book because there isn't really a mystery to solve. It's more about a terrible situation, a whole bunch of traumatic events, and a terrible situation that she makes worse through terrible decisions. Yeah, that was not the book that I was expecting that to be at all. And even when it went in that direction, I thought maybe she'll do something interesting or like thought-provoking with this. But it was just kind of like an undoing of everything from the previous books in terms of who the character was. I don't know. I mean, it was shocking. It made me feel something, but then the ending did nothing with everything it set up. So I didn't like it. So that was not what I was expecting from that book, to feel that strongly about it. Anyway, the other thing I've been reading is Song of Achilles. This I don't feel particularly strongly about. I feel like the main characters don't even feel particularly strongly about their own lives. Like, they're just living. Am I in focus? I feel like I'm not in focus. Please pay attention to me. It could be my eyes. This late at night, it could definitely be my eyes. So yeah, we've got Achilles has gone off to train to be this great warrior, and Patroclus has basically just followed along. Why? We're not really sure why Patroclus ever does anything. He never really expresses any desire for anything. Like, what is he trying to do with his life? It's like he's not even interested in his life. He's just there. And Achilles' motivations aren't really very clear either, I don't think. Maybe more clear than Patroclus. Patroclus is just, I keep like trying to decide, is it trying to imply that he is not very intelligent? That there's something, like it describes his mother as simple. Is it trying to say that he's simple too? Because he seems like a very simple character in that he doesn't really ever seem to think about anything. And it is kind of the writing style that it's just giving you this character's experiences. But I kind of just feel like the character building is a bit superficial. But I do think the writing is lovely, and the story is kind of, I don't know, quite cozy, I guess. Maybe that's what people like about it. I'm not minding it. I know, I feel like I just ranted about it. It's probably because I'm in a ranting mood thanks to As Good as Dead. But this is okay. I'm enjoying it, but it's not blowing my mind, and I'm not particularly in love with the characters. So, anyway, I should be cleaning my face, going to bed. So I'll try and read some more of this. I did also try to listen to a bit of Rule of Wolves today, and honestly, I didn't read much because I kind of don't think I'm very interested in that. I feel like the books I've picked for this week are not turning out like I hoped. But anyway, It's the end of the working week, it's the weekend, sort of, so things aren't that bad.
If you set yourself on fire, I never let you burn. I would smoke you till my lungs hurt and love you till I'm dirt. Oh, I'm not sure where all this goes. What I do know is I'll never let you go. When my world is falling apart, you're always there first. When I felt like I could give up, you showed me my worth.
So honestly, the weekend is over already. I feel like these 3-day weekends aren't really working out for me in that they don't really feel longer than 2-day weekends. Or maybe it's just that I went from 7-day weekends to 3-day weekends, so 3-day weekends still seem short. But I didn't even get around to updating you during my longer weekend. But I will update you on my reading now. So, I've been listening to Rule of Wolves, and I will definitely say, like, listening to it on 2x speed is making it so much more enjoyable, but at the same time, I still don't feel like I'm very invested anymore in this whole story, and I still really don't like the way that Nikolai's story has been put together with Nina's story. I really don't think there's going to be a connection. Well, there is a connection, but it's just not enough. But also, I really just think it's me. I think that the Gritterverse series is not the kind of fantasy that I really like. Like, it's more relationship focused and like romance focused rather than plot focused. And there is a plot, but it's very angsty, and I'm not invested enough, basically. And I really just want cool stuff to happen with Nina's magic, and it never happens. She hasn't even hardly done any magic. Anyway, I think I'm about halfway through, so I will continue that. It has definitely been a little bit annoying listening to it on my phone after having ripped it off the audio CD, because it was a bit of a pain to get it on my phone. I had to download a different app to play it, and so now I can't actually easily see how far through I am, but I think I'm about halfway. I think so. The other thing I have been doing is reading the Song of Achilles, and last night I think I got up to about page 220, and it's about 350 pages long. I'm going to try and finish this and Rule of Wolves off tonight. I feel like there's a maths problem with that, but I'm just going to ignore it and try and do it anyway. I have been enjoying this more since they got more involved with the war, although actually I think my favourite bit was kind of between the very beginning, which is where they're kind of young and they're forming this attraction and they're getting trained, and that stuff I found quite boring. Just Patroclus is really a nothing character and nothing really happened, and I wasn't that interested in their attraction with each other. Then they were kind of trying to avoid getting involved with this big war, and that part I kind of liked. It was interesting. I really enjoyed the inclusion of Odysseus because he is the husband of Penelope, and so I've always had a bit of a connection to him and her. But then they've gone along to this war, and Patroclus has kind of gone back to being just a nothing character. I mean, most of the time he's a nothing character. It's not really clear what his goals are in life. He never really adds anything to any situation that he's in. Don't really understand what it is that Achilles likes about him. And even Achilles' motivation is all kind of around this glory of being a hero, and I don't particularly like that either. But that said, it is an interesting adaptation of this classic story. So what I am enjoying is seeing kind of how she's telling the story, and I am interested to see how it's all going to wrap up. So I'll try and finish that tonight in Rule of Wolves, and then I will check in with you again. Hello, so look at me managing to actually vlog in a different place other than just at my desk. I've actually managed to get away from my desk a little bit, but still not as much as I'd like. Anyway, I wanted to wrap up this vlog because it's been a few days and I have actually now finished all the books. So firstly, I finished off listening to Rule of Wolves. Maybe I already told you this. I don't remember. But anyway, I finished listening to it, and I think if you liked the first Grishaverse trilogy, so Shadow and Bone and those books, I think you'll like these last two books. It's focused on the characters kind of in the same way, and a lot of the political stuff that's going on is similar but different. I still think the two plot threads with Nina and Nikolai don't connect together properly, but that said, I did enjoy the ending for both those threads. Even the romancy type elements, I wasn't really interested in the romances for the whole book, but the way they ended I felt was quite satisfying. But really, for me, I continued this series because I really liked Nina's magic and I was interested to see what more would be done with it, and to be honest, nothing much ever came of that. So I just think this book series was never really giving me what I wanted. I did like the Crooked Kingdom duology, but then this latest duology just wasn't the focus that I wanted it. But I do think people who like that first trilogy will like this last duology because it's similar, good in a similar way. That's what I mean. So then the other thing I finished is the Song of Achilles. This one. I don't really understand the hype. I do think it's beautifully written, that is true. But the characters are just kind of quite superficial. On page 269, I took special note. Patroclus made his first proper decision, like actively decided to do something rather than just following along with things and being like a complete non-entity. And he did a few things at the end, but also most of those things were stupid and there were much better things to do. And also at the end, Achilles is like just a dick. And I didn't like him at all. And really, I don't understand why they were supposedly in love. Like, they didn't really seem to have any kind of connection, especially at the end. And then it tries to do this, like, romantic ending, and I was like, yeah, but I don't really even buy their relationship. Like, it felt like Patroclus had more of a connection with some other characters than with Achilles. And just a lot of the time with the plot, there's not really anything happening. Really, the best part was Odysseus. I would love to see Madeline Miller adapt Odysseus and Penelope's story, not just because Penelope's got my name, but because I think she wrote Odysseus quite well. Odysseus? My Greek pronunciation maybe not that great. Anyway, that's the story I want. But I do have a couple of other Greek mythology adaptations on my bookshelf. And maybe I'll try and collect a few more because I like Greek mythology. I just feel like this was a weird, underdeveloped romance instead of actually being about the mythology. Anyway, it's been so long since I started this vlog, I can't remember what other things I read in this vlog, but I still have to edit the whole thing, so I'll remember soon. But do let me know if you have read any of these books because I would love to talk with you about them down in the comments. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you are doing well, and I will see you next time.